In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about the two knots that I use the most, and these are my connection knots to my lures. Now, I have another knot that I use for my leader lines that we'll talk about later on, but today I want to talk about my connection knots to my actual lures and the two knots that I tie for virtually everything in these two different applications. So the first one is going to be for anytime I'm using a bait casting reel, I'm going to tie this knot. Now, I don't know what this knot is called. I just know that it works really, really well. I learned it a long time ago and I've been tying it ever since. But what you're going to do is you're going to take your line, you're going to double it over. You're going to take that doubled over line and you're going to run it through your bait or through the eye of your bait. Obviously we're fishing this or tying on a spinner bait. You're going to have two different ends here. You're going to take this one end that you ran through and you're going to make a loop just like that. You're going to make a loop over your finger. You're going to take the loop here and you're going to wrap it down the loop you created 3 times, just like that. Then you're going to take that tag in that you ran down your loop 3 times. You're going to take it back up through the loop you created and pull it through there and then start to tighten it down. You guys will start seeing the knot come together here. We want to wet that and then you're going to pull it on down just like that. And you're going to have 2 separate tag ends. You're going to have just a single tag in and then your loop tag in. You cut both of those off, and for me, I use that for anytime I'm using a bait caster, whether it's fluorocarbon, braided fishing line, it doesn't matter. I use this knot and I have never had any issues out of it. I've, knock on wood, never broke that knot off. I've broke so many lures off and got the lure back and it actually been a bad spot in my line and not actually the knot break. But that is my favorite knot for when I'm throwing a bait caster. Now my favorite knot for when I'm throwing a spinning rod or essentially any like small finesse fluorocarbon application is essentially that knot but without the doubling. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little bait here, and hopefully you guys can see this fishing line. I'm going to take my little hook here. I'm going to run a single line through there. We're going to create that same loop with our finger, but instead of having it doubled, it's going to be single, and then we're just going to wrap it down 6 times. 1, 3, 5, 6. We're going to take that tag in. We're going to run it back through that loop we made. We are going to start to tighten it down, wet it a little bit, and then tighten it right down. And I believe that's just called like your traditional fisherman's knot. You're just going to have that single tag in there. You're going to clip that tag in off. And again, one of those scenarios where it's simple, it works. It's always worked for me, and I've never had any issues out of it. But that's the 2 knots that I use for dang near everything. And if you guys want to see me fishing this little knot in action and catching a bunch of big fish on this super simple knot, click this video, it's popping up right here.